The grocery store checkout line was completely normal, until a little boy did something no one expected. He was standing with a man who called himself the boy's father. But something was wrong, terribly wrong. The boy never spoke, never looked up, never smiled. His hands were stiff at his sides. His eyes were fixed on the floor. Then, without warning, he dropped a candy bar. It hit the floor. The man picked it up and handed it back. The boy dropped it again. The cashier smiled. Kids, right? But then the boy dropped it a third time. Same candy bar, same hand, same spot on the floor. A retired police officer was standing 2 people back in line. He had spent 26 years reading body language for a living, and what he saw in that little boy made his blood run cold. Children fidget. Children drop things. Children get distracted. But children who drop the same item 3 times in the exact same way are not being clumsy. They are sending a signal. Within 7 minutes, the entire store was locked down, and what officers found in the parking lot changed every person in that building forever. Stay with us, because this story will leave you speechless. Before we continue, hit that like button and subscribe, and drop your country in the comments right now. I read every single one. Let's see how far this story travels. His name was Officer Dale Mercer, retired, 34 years old when he joined the force, 60 years old when he finally hung up his badge, 26 years on the job, thousands of calls, hundreds of cases. He had seen things that most people only read about in headlines. But on a Tuesday afternoon in a grocery store in Columbus, Ohio, what Dale Mercer saw in a checkout line shook him to his core. Dale had stopped in to grab a few things. Nothing unusual. He was wearing a plain gray jacket, jeans, and old boots. Nothing about him said cop. Nothing about him said threat. He was just a retired man in line, holding a basket with milk, bread, and coffee. The line had 4 people ahead of him: a woman with a full cart, a teenage girl on her phone, a man in a red baseball cap, and at the front, a man with a young boy. The boy looked about 7 years old. Dark hair, small frame, wearing a blue jacket that was slightly too big for him. Dale noticed him the moment he got in line. Not because the boy was doing anything wrong, because the boy was doing nothing at all. He was not fidgeting, not looking around, not tugging at the man's sleeve, not asking for snacks or candy the way every 7-year-old does in a checkout line. He was just standing there, perfectly still, eyes down, hands at his sides. Dale had seen that posture before, not in children, in adults. In adults who had been trained or forced to disappear into themselves. He told himself he was overthinking it. He shifted his basket to his other hand and looked away. Then the boy dropped the candy bar. It was sitting on the conveyor belt, a small Kit Kat. The boy had been holding it loosely, and it slipped from his fingers and hit the floor near his feet. The man with him said nothing. He reached down, picked it up, and placed it back on the belt. The boy's eyes never moved from the floor. Dale watched. 30 seconds later, the candy bar dropped again. Same motion, same hand, same spot. The cashier, a young woman named Priya, laughed softly and said Butterfingers. The man chuckled. He picked it up again and set it back down. Dale was not laughing. He was watching the boy's face. The boy had not reacted to the drop, had not looked up, had not smiled or flinched or made any expression at all. Most children, when they drop something, look at it. Look at the person who picks it up, show some kind of reaction. Embarrassment, amusement, guilt. This boy showed nothing. Dale set his basket down quietly and took 1 step forward in line. Then the candy bar dropped a 3rd time, and this time the boy's eyes moved. Just for 1 second, he looked directly at Dale. Not at the cashier, not at the candy bar, not at the man beside him, at Dale. It lasted less than 2 seconds. Then his eyes went back to the floor. Dale felt something shift in his chest. That feeling he had learned to trust after 26 years. That quiet alarm that had no sound, no words, just certainty. Something is wrong with this child. He stepped out of line. He walked to the customer service desk near the entrance and asked to speak to the store manager. The manager, a man named Hector, came out from the back within 2 minutes. Dale leaned close and spoke quietly. I need you to call 911. Do not make it obvious. Tell them you have a retired officer on site with a possible child welfare concern. Check out lane 3. Man and a young boy. Do it now." Hector stared at him. Dale pulled his retired badge from his wallet and set it on the desk without a word. Hector went to the back. Dale walked back toward the checkout line, moving slowly, staying to the side. He did not want the man to notice him. The man and the boy were almost finished checking out. The cashier, Priya, was scanning the last few items. Dale positioned himself near the magazine rack, close enough to observe, far enough not to alarm anyone. The man paid in cash. He gathered the bags. He put his hand on the boy's shoulder, and for just one moment Dale saw the boy's body go rigid. Not a flinch, a freeze, the kind of freeze a body makes when it has learned that the alternative is worse. They walked toward the exit. Dale followed at a distance. He stepped outside just as 2 patrol units pulled silently into the parking lot from different directions. No lights, no sirens. One officer approached the man. The man immediately became agitated. His voice rose. He grabbed the bags tighter. The second officer knelt down in front of the boy and said just 4 words. "Hey, buddy, you okay?" The boy looked at the officer. Then he looked at Dale, who was standing 20 feet away. Then the boy did something that nobody expected. He held out both his wrists, not pointing, not reaching, holding them out side by side, the way someone shows you a wound. There were marks on both wrists, faint but visible, consistent with restraint. Within 60 seconds, the man was in handcuffs. Within 2 minutes, a child welfare officer was on the phone. The boy's name was not given to the press. He was 7 years old. He had been reported missing from a county in West Virginia 11 days earlier. The man in the red baseball cap, still standing near the exit, had witnessed everything. He told a reporter later that he had been in that same checkout line and had not noticed anything unusual about the boy at all. Dale Mercer did not give interviews. He went home. He fed his dog. He sat on his porch. When a local news crew came to his door the next morning, he opened it, listened to their questions, and said only this: "I spent 26 years learning to read people." That boy spent 7 years learning to ask for help without words. He did his part. I just had to do mine. The story ran nationally within 48 hours. 91 million people watched the body cam footage from the parking lot. The video of the boy holding out his wrists became one of the most watched clips in the history of that news network. Within 1 week, 3 other children in 3 other states were identified and recovered because people who saw the story recognized similar behavior in children around them and reported it. Priya, the cashier who had laughed and called the boy Butterfingers, gave a tearful interview. She said she had replayed that moment every night since. She said she thought he was just a clumsy kid. She said she would never see a dropped item the same way again. Dale Mercer did not become a public figure. He did not sell a book. He did not start a podcast. He went back to his life, his dog, his porch, his coffee, but he did agree to one thing. He partnered with a national child safety organization to create a 30-minute training video for retail workers, teachers, bus drivers, and coaches. The training is called See What Children Cannot Say. It has been used in 43 states. It teaches one central lesson. When a child cannot ask for help out loud, they will ask with their body, and all it takes is one person paying attention. Dale Mercer paid attention. A 7-year-old boy who had been missing for 11 days is alive because of it. If this story made you look twice at the world around you, share it with someone who works with children. A teacher, a coach, a bus driver, a cashier, anyone, because the next child asking for help may not be able to use words, and the next person who can help them might be you. Subscribe to this channel. Every story we tell here is proof that ordinary people do extraordinary things. See you in the next one.